The format of this meeting is a 10-minute speaker. Our secretary's announcements, a coffee and snack break, and our main speaker. Our first speaker for tonight is Ty. Yay!
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ty Helmer, and I'm an alcoholic. Thank you guys for having us. Darren and I were up in Santa Barbara, where he's from, last night. I was invited to speak up there, and apparently I needed to come down here and do this again the next night, whatever. And now we don't have anybody sitting next to us. I'm wondering if there's something wrong with us. I'll give you the stats real quick so you can start judging, which you've already probably started doing. But my sobriety date's May 17th of 2017. I have a sponsor. His name is Carl Morris. I have a home group, which is the Sunday night speaker meeting in Covina, California. And if you're ever in the area or want to be in the area, get a hold of me. I'm pretty easy to find. And I would be happy to escort you to that meeting, take you to dinner, and we'll do some AA. I absolutely love this program. And, if you're new, welcome. And you're probably going, this is hokey, right? You love AA. But I do. Everything good and worthwhile in my life has come from God and AA. And AA has reintroduced me to a God that I had walked away from years and years ago. Hi, Zoom people, wherever the camera's at. Try and acknowledge them because I always forget. One of the most important things that I found in Alcoholics Anonymous is my group of people. And it took a while. I just celebrated 9 years on May 17th. And thank you. It's not an accomplishment. I did it before once, too. We'll get to that in just a minute. But what was super important for me was to find my group of people. And that's what ran me out 21 years ago or whatever, years ago. I had originally gotten sober on June 14th of 1992, and I stuck around here for 10 years. I'm the super raunchy poster boy for if you don't do this continuously with all your heart, you will go drink again. 10 minutes, right? We got 8 minutes for me to make a mockery of myself. So finding your people. When I was sober back in the 90s, I had this sponsor named Ron F., and he told me that we are the sickest among the sick, and if you think you're going to get along with everybody or not catch resentments throughout your sobriety, you're fooling yourself. But there's a solution to that. Right? We have this big book, we have this process, we have sponsors that helps us through these issues. It's just life. You're not supposed to like everybody or be liked by everybody. I just don't like anybody, so it works out for me. No, I'm kidding. But finding your people really helps with that, right? Because what happens for me is when I get in these places where I don't like somebody or I get agitated or irritated with somebody, I have people to call. I have solid people like Darren. I have a host of people in my life that I have real relationships with, right? The book talks about that. We're able to form real relationships. They're not superficial. They're not if I need something or they need something. These are people I can call. If I get in trouble in any form in my life, I can call them and they will show up. And it absolutely blows my mind how many people I have like that in my life. I had this big group of friends when I was drinking, and I can't say that there was, if there was 50 of them, there might have been one that would actually show up if I needed something. But so real quick, I was sober for 10 years in the 90s. I went out after 10 years. I had had some problems in my marriage. I was off work having back surgery, and I decided one night that I was going to go to the liquor store. I don't know if you guys could tell, but I'm not like the slacks and loafers kind of guy. But so I'm a whiskey drinker. And after 10 years of sobriety, I went to the liquor store and picked up a 6-pack of Smirnoff Ice and went home and drank that and turned right back around and went to the liquor store and got a bottle of Jack Daniels, and I was puking face down drunk the first night after 10 years of sobriety. That's how I drink. And that's how it always is. I'm a blackout drinker. I'm the consequence king. In my early sobriety, I just off the top of my head, I got ran over by a truck. I fell off a cliff. I dove off the second story of a pool headfirst into the shallow end, busted my head open, almost broke my neck. I could literally could go on. I'm the dude that once I put something in me, you really have no idea what is ever going to happen. And that's how my life continued. So after 15 years of being out doing that same kind of behavior. I have 5 boys by 3 moms because that's how I roll. My oldest son is 6 months sober longer than I am. And in 2016, I was fresh out of an engagement, barricaded myself in my home, and it wound up taking two shots to the chest from SWAT, and was basically killed. That's how my alcoholism is, right? I don't know what's going to happen. I have no logical thinking once I start putting stuff in my body. And after being pronounced dead twice, having the hospital chaplain rolled into my room and telling me that I wasn't going to survive and I need to make myself right with God, they gave me a 2% chance to live. Surprise! I caught a felony for that whole scenario. Apparently SWAT doesn't like you pointing guns at them. I don't know, sissies. But my oldest son, as I was going through court, kept telling me you want to go to sober living, telling me you want to go to sober living. And the DA is going, no, he's going to prison for 8 years. And the day of my sentencing, he said, my son tells me, he's in sober living at this point. He says, tell him you want to go to this particular sober living. So I told my attorney, we go into court, standing in front of the judge. My attorney tells the DA says, no. And the judge goes, where? So my attorney reiterated what he had said. And what ultimately ended up happening was the judge overruled the DA, and I was sentenced to a year in sober living. Our book talks about God doing for us what we can't do for ourselves. It's an amazing thing. I'm a big, what do you want to call them? I don't love it when people quote the big book. It just kind of drives me nuts because it's a book to read. But anyways, on page 58, the first paragraph, we read it at almost every meeting. Rarely have we seen a person fail who thoroughly follows our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. I take that really seriously, right? There's some really profound words in that first paragraph of that. And today, 9 years into my sobriety, I have completely given myself to this simple program. Hence why I'm here after driving for 5 hours yesterday, speaking up there. Darren said, hey, you want to be in my 10-minute? I'm all in. I'm all in. If you guys had called me and said, will you come down and set up chairs? I'm all in. I would have driven an hour and 20 minutes out here to set up chairs. I love Alcoholics Anonymous, and I promise you, if you do what the book says in that first 164 pages, if you pray when it says to pray, if you do the work when it says to do the work, if you get a sponsor, if you surround yourself with good people, your life will change and you won't recognize it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ty. Okay, it looks like it's time to get started again. And before we do, we are started, let's all give Stephen a good hand for the food tonight. Thank you so much. Yay! And I used to be a speaker coordinator up in the California high desert in the town of Apple Valley between 10 and 4 years ago, and a speaker I invited up there twice who drove from Santa Barbara twice is your speaker tonight. Welcome, Darren. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name's Darren. I'm an alcoholic. Wow, what a setup here. I want to thank Scott, the secretary, and Keith for inviting me. I met Keith on a battleship a few weeks ago. You can only say this shit in Alcoholics Anonymous, you know. Met him on a battleship that my friend Alexander had set me up with, and you know, this Alcoholics Anonymous is the greatest show on earth. You heard a bit of that from Ty, and you meet the best people. I mean, can you imagine meeting the literature guy when he's on drugs? I mean, come on. I met a guy, he's probably more calm on drugs. There's a guy outside who I went to prison with, who I just met. He did, I think he did more time than me. He did 4 years and I was in there about 3 hours doing some H&I shit, you know what I mean? You don't want me in prison longer than that. And then they said, bring a 10-minute speaker. So, of course, I bring someone who got shot, you know what I mean? And because he's alcoholic, you know, he got shot twice. But here he is. What a gift. Yeah, if you're new and you're weirded out or you don't like this or you're not sure, welcome. Same here. If you didn't want to come tonight, neither did I, and I'm the speaker. So don't worry about it. You'll get over it. But I want you to know I'm the worst drunk I've ever met, and I can't believe I'm sober and happy, because those two things don't go together. In fact, sobriety sucks. Sobriety sucks when you don't have a program. Isn't that why we drink again? That's why I drank again. But if you've just come out of the lockdown psychiatric unit, one more time, the most insane thing you could do would be to pick up a drink, and there I am, all lit up again. And my drinking got pretty bad, but I am not going to Alcoholics Anonymous, because I've seen it on the telly. Doesn't it depict it the worst ever? It looks like One Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest or some shit. You know, and so I'm already, like, I remember the doctors telling me, oh, you need a 12-step program. I'm like, no, listen, mate. I'm already suicidally depressed, you know what I mean? You want to send me that A&A thing? Are you trying to finish me off quicker? And I don't think I'm alcoholic, because I don't look like an alcoholic. And things get pretty bad, which you'll hear, but I don't look like, I have such a preconceived notion of what it means to be an alcoholic, what it looks like. I picture the bum on the end of the off-ramp with an horrible, dirty, bushy beard. Not a cool one like yours, you know, an horrible, dirty, bushy beard. You know, like loser figure begging for change. That's an alcoholic. So it couldn't be anybody in here, as far as I'm concerned, couldn't be alcoholic. Like, you're either too young, you're too beautiful, you're too well put together. Well, some of you over there look like you've had a good drink, I suppose, but I didn't think I looked like an alcoholic, so it doesn't make sense. So this was the last house on the block. I fought this to the end. And I remember it well. I'd already made my way from, by the way, I'm not having a stroke or anything. I'm from Manchester, England, you know. I'd already made it over to the mean streets of Santa Barbara. And, you know, my life was hell. Everything's falling apart. And I was living in a crappy house. I had a shitty room on the west side of town. It was midnight. I'm maudlin drunk. I'd been suicidal on awakening for as long as I could remember. And I'm going to kill myself. No big deal. I was just going to kill myself. And that's the only reason I reached out to AA. It was midnight. So I looked for the yellow pages. You know, you young'uns will have to Google that shit, won't you? And that's how drunk I was. I couldn't find the name Alcoholics Anonymous. It's like it's in the beginning of the book, like under AA. But I called this number, and a lovely older lady answered the phone. She was so good at her task, and I got straight down to business, you know, because I know she's going to question me. So I said, yes, I might drink too much, but so would you if what's happened to me had happened to you. And she just insert a little nugget. And then I'd say something else, and she'd talk me down off the ledge. And I said, you know, well, I'm going to kill myself anyway. And she said, well, Darren, hey, have you never been to a meeting? I'm like, no. She said, wow, there's a meeting tomorrow night down the street from you at 8 o'clock. She made it sound so special, man. I didn't know there was 200 meetings a week in Santa Barbara. I passed out. I came to the next day shaking and baking. And I can't say I didn't have a little drink. You know, I'm physically dependent on vodka. And, you know, if I'm going to leave my bedroom, let alone my house, I have to have a cheeky drink, you know what I mean? Especially if I'm going to do something really weird. Like interact with other humans. And so I remember later on, oh my God, I got to go to that A&A thing. And I showered for the first time in months. And I gelled my hair all super sexy. And I went walking down to this meeting, and I got there, and it was a huge men's stag. Now, if I'd have known that, I wouldn't have bloody showered, you know what I mean? But I get to this meeting, there was like 80 men outside this meeting hall, nothing like it's seen on the TV. They were happy. It was like this meeting tonight, there was a vibe about it. There was a vast amount of fun about it all. They were happy to see each other. No, I'm not interacting with people because I don't want to catch anything off these happy folks, you know what I mean? I'm just an observer. And then what happened next really caught my attention, like just underneath the deadly earnestness then kicked in. Because the meeting's about to start. 80 men, 2 huge circles. The secretary sat down, shuffled his papers like he meant business. Everybody caught the cue, sat down, shut up, got off their phones, if you can believe that. And the meeting started, and I'm just like mesmerized, going, wow, this is crazy. And I thought, this is a good time to open my jacket pocket. I pull out a huge bottle of vodka and start drinking in the meeting. And the guy next to me is like, holy shit. He's drinking vodka in the meeting. And I'm looking around going, well, why is nobody else drinking? Isn't this Alcoholics Anonymous? Don't you have a drinking? I have a really bad drinking problem. I stayed drunk in the rooms of Santa Barbara AA for a year. For a year, openly drinking. I didn't know anything about recovery. I thought this is just the place you come because you're miserable as fuck. I'm miserable as can be. Let's be miserable together for an hour. At least save some mayhem out there, and then we'll go on our merry way and create chaos again. I had no idea. So I got the reputation back then, and it took me 3 months to figure out what you cheeky monkeys were doing. You lot were putting your vodka into a water bottle and bringing it to the meeting. Now, you know, it wasn't always like that. It was certainly jails, institution, and death towards the end, but I started drinking. I had a good time. I drank from 13 to 33, 20 years, and most of that time was a good time. I was a bit of a party animal. Anyone good at drinking and doing drugs in there as well? Yeah. So I didn't know I was going to meet you lot. I thought I'm going to meet these miserable, fat, bald, miserable men, you know, in a circle, in a smoker. I'm going to meet you lot who are like me. And so, you know, I'm just like 13 to 33. I thought 13's young when if I ever tell my story, like Ty's going to fall off his seat, like 13. But it's not young, especially not in Alcoholics Anonymous, right? Because you can't outdo anybody in Alcoholics Anonymous. Somebody over here is like, I was drinking when I was 8. Nobody cares, mate. Nobody cares. As this one woman speaker, she gives a great talk. She's now a friend of mine. Her name's Teresa. Now, but her whole pitch surrounds the fact that she was drunk in her addicted mother's womb. In the womb. It's like, okay, Teresa, you win. You win. You can't outdo that, right? But 13 to 33 and a good time for most of that time. Some of the old folks don't like that sometimes when you talk about having a good time. I don't know why they don't like it. It's like, don't worry, mate. I am going to ruin my life and then want to kill myself. We're going to get there, but I happen to have a good time until alcoholism creeps into your bones. And I became a small business owner with my brother. And aged, you know, we were somewhat successful. The banker watched with amused skepticism. I willed some fat checks in and out of his account. You know, I'm driving it. We got a lot of people working for us. We had a fleet of vehicles doing what we did. I'm driving a nice sports car. I've got Miss Manchester on my arm. I had arrived. But alcoholism doesn't come in the form of me drinking neat vodka all of a sudden. It's subtle and progressive. And it first comes in the form of massive amounts of anxiety. And isn't that the worst feeling in the world? And it comes in the form of, you know, massive amounts of depression. And this spiritual malady that I can't explain or understand, that's eating me alive from the inside out, where my soul's just becoming ever blacker and soon it will be ash. Yet I can't tell anybody about it, right? You're driven by 100 forms of fear. I'm full of resentments. My life's falling apart. I screwed it up with her, and that's killing me. We've all got one of them, right? Exes. Oh, my God, if I'd have just stayed with her. And everything's weighing me down. Yet I get a full second-time job at this stage of my alcoholism, and that's to go running around Manchester making sure you think I'm okay. Because if I can convince you that I'm okay, maybe I'll be okay. And only another alcoholic will understand that. You know, I got away with a lot of bullshit because I was the boss, but my brother was on to me big time. We always have somebody that's on to us. And I couldn't get out of my car to go to a high-powered business meeting I'd set up the day before because I'm paralyzed with fear. We ended up having we used to have a monthly boardroom meeting, 4 directors, me and my brother, 2 mates from university, 2 of my best friends. And I hated these things, and I'm not paying attention. I'm dying of a hangover. And I hear him say, yeah, Darren, we had a meeting before this meeting, and we've decided to let you go. I'm like, what? I didn't know you could do that. Like, don't I own this? Only an alcoholic can pull that shit off. And he was a brilliant businessman. Brilliant businessman. I'm a good, bullshitter. We'll call us the marketing man. But he's a brilliant businessman. I knew he'd have it all signed and sealed. And all my fears were playing out. But like any good alcoholic, I go from fear to anger in a nanosecond. And I go for him. I kick the chair out of the way. I'm going to, headbutt him. Well, I believe in clear communication. You know what I mean? It's just one of those awful scenes where the mask has slipped and Darren's been found out. So I have to leave the sports car there. It's the worst time financially to exit the business, of course. And I remember it like it was yesterday. It was a worst day of my life. Horrible, grey, miserable, wet Manchester afternoon. And I'm walking home, completely defeated. But all I care about is changing the story. Because you can't be talking poorly about me. All I care is getting ahead of the narrative. Who was in that room? My brother, he's a wanker. 2 of my best friends from university, I'll sort them out. My mind's going because I'm dying, but I just care about what you're thinking about me. By the time I get to AA, I can only think of 2 things, actually. I'm either thinking about me or I'm thinking about what you're thinking about me. And that's it. So I go home that night, I get changed and showered because I'm going to go out that night anyway because it was the weekend. It was a Thursday. Anyone else's weekend longer than their week? Now, I got to the pub before any of my mates, and this is what alcohol does for us. I had a worst day of my life. I had a couple of really stiff drinks, and woof! The old fierce determination to win comes right back. And here comes Simon, here comes my mate Dave. I said, did you hear about that bullshit today? My brother's a wanker. I told them where to go. And they bought it. Yeah, that's right, Darren, I'm going to drink. Yeah, that's all right. Anything I touch turns to gold. The ego's just out of control and through the roof. Now I've had a couple more drinks. Now 15 of my boys are in the pub. I've got an audience. I'm on my soapbox. Everyone wants to hear the news. I'm like, yeah, I don't need anybody, me. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I said, hey, you know what, boys? You know what I'm going to do? When I was a student, I used to love traveling. I said, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go traveling. In fact, you know what? I'm going to go to America. And I'm going to become president of America or some shit. Well, apparently any fucker can become president over here, right? I don't know. But I think the problem is the shitty UK weather. I think the problem is my brother. He's a wanker. I think the problem is my girlfriend. She keeps leaving me for stupid little things like my cheating on her and stuff. But no. Somebody puts the problem on a flight at Manchester International Airport and flies me all the way to LAX. And an uncle I've never met before comes and picks me up. He lights up a big spliff and goes, welcome to America, Darren. I'm like, thank you very much, Uncle Paddy. And we're driving up the 101. Now, this man I came to America for a 2-week holiday 26 years ago. I never made it back to England. I didn't know I was going to circle the drain of life. I didn't know I was going to almost die of untreated alcoholism. I'm coming here just to take the edge off. Now, this man owns a bar in downtown Santa Barbara. See, there is a God. When I'm on holiday, I like to have a drink. I'm drunk for 2 weeks straight. I've got to book my return flight home, and I realise the visa waiver I signed on the plane allows you to stay for 90 days. So I'm drunk for 90 days, become this normal, everyday drinker. A friend flies over from England, and I buy an SUV. We travel the whole of America for 5 months. Oh, I'm drunk off my ass. 12,000 miles, 32 states. We saw everything you'd want to see. I remember Graceland a little bit, but it's a bit blurry. By the time we got back to Santa Barbara 5 months later, I had 7 outstanding warrants in 5 different states. That means we had a good time. And then my friend who's normal flies back to England, and I have no money, no income, no job, and I'm just screwed, you know. So, because the problem isn't staying drunk or drunk and high for us. That's not a problem. We're brilliant at that. The real problem for any real alcoholic is facing life sober. And now I'm kind of sobering up, and my uncle gives me a job in his bar as a drunk bartender. He has no idea what he's letting himself in for. And it was the worst job in the world and the best job in the world, all rolled into one. How I never lost this man his bar, I'll never know. I bartended for almost 2 years, and I'm the drunkest person in the pub all the time. Now, we're doing a lot of white goods to stay alert, and so, well, this is AA, and I'm going to talk about alcoholism. But I did try cocaine once for 20 years. I love anything that will allow me to drink Thai under the table, you know what I mean? But I'm drinking and working, and alcoholism has got me bad, and I'm just hanging on by a thread. You know, the book says we stood at the turning point. I lived at the turning point for almost 2 years, about to have a nervous mental breakdown. Normal people can't do what we do. They couldn't do it for a night, never a weekend. We're doing this for month in, month out, year in, year out, and I have a sense of impending doom the whole time. Now I know why we have a sense of impending doom. It's because something bad is going to happen, the way we're living our life, right? And I come to one morning, I'm drunk at work, I'm drunk on my days off because the anxiety's through the roof. You know what's brilliant for anxiety? Alcohol. When the solution to your problem is the thing that's killing you, you are screwed, right? You are beyond human aid already, and I don't know it. I just know I'm really different, and I know that I feel weird all the time, and this makes me feel good, but I can't do it properly. I overshoot the mark. I came to one morning, 6 missed calls. Oh, I answered the 7th one. Get down here now. Oh, all my fears, 2 years of playing out, and I walk down to the bar. I'm crying. I know what's coming. And I would have passed a lie detector. I walk in the pub and say, oh, I'll never, never, ever drink ever again in this bar. Darren, you'll never work in this pub ever again. You haven't lost me in my bar, I'll never know. How I'm not divorced, Darren, because of you, I'll never know. Oh, I went and tied one on that day. I tied one on that day. I come to the next morning, late mid-morning, I'm so rough. So I go back down to the bar to see who took my shift. My 3rd pint, I throw it over him in front of everybody. How to ostracize yourself from the whole of Santa Barbara downtown bar scene in a nanosecond. Only we can pull shit like that off. Darren, you get out of here right now and everyone will see your face again. Now I'm just on a death march. I'm not like a cute little drunk, obviously. I'm not a functioning alcoholic. I'm a vodka drinking maniac. And so I'm not employable. I'm losing my place. I'm not paying rent. And a typical day for me is like I would come to, I haven't seen anybody for months. I come to, and it's pitch black outside, and I have no idea whether it's night or day. And I'd figure it out, oh my God, it's 5 a.m., that darkest hour before the dawn. Now I have strong, horrible, warm vodka under my bed at this stage of drinking because I'm going to need it at first daylight. But I so desperately don't want to drink because I know what that means. But I'm drinking out of tall bottles, and I always have 4 fingers left in the bottom because it's like a science project. That is exactly what I'll need to get straightened out. Won't make me like Superman, but it just about will heal the cracked mind. Take away the suicidal thoughts, maybe just about. I've drank so much hard alcohol and done so many drugs, I've ruined me wiring. And I would debate it for 10 minutes, but the mental and hellish torture is so bad, I'm going to lose my mind. And so I'll drink that down, finish it off, just about fix me. And it's not even 6 a.m. But here's the problem. I've just fed the beast, and now the beast needs feeding. And I put on my smelly, baggy clothing to go 1 block to Foodland liquor store around from me to steal 2 big bottles of vodka. And I go clinking off home, and you get in the house. And what I want to do is pound the vodka oblivion, but no. It's like a science project. It is immensely important that first bottle gets nursed into the later afternoon, because the second bottle has to get me into the evening, because we can never sleep. I can never, ever sleep. And what I'm trying to do is to maybe get to 9, 10, even 11 o'clock to catch for once a good enough sleep to wake up and not have to drink like that ever again. And it says the mind and body are marvelous mechanisms. I drank like that for 2 more years. 2 more years of jails, institution, death, and then I start to turn up in the rooms of Santa Barbara AA drunk, and you guys welcome me in like the superstars that you are. And here's how I got sober. I came to one morning, there was no vodka under my bed. That had never happened to me before. I took it as a sign, this is the day I'm going to kill myself, no big drama. I tried to kill myself 3 months before. It was midnight, I'm maudlin drunk, and my roommates, who don't invite me anywhere, are downtown partying. And I remembered one of them has an arsenal of weapons in his bedroom. He was a maniac. I jimmy the door, break in, there's an AK there, there's a shotgun in the wardrobe, and there's several loaded handguns. Now, I'm English, I don't quite know what I'm doing with a gun, but I got a loaded revolver, stagger into the living room, I sit down on the couch, I put the gun in my mouth, it's cold, it's heavy on my teeth, and I'm thinking, wait, do you blow the back of your head off, or do you shoot up through the roof of your mouth? And as I'm thinking it through, the thought came, hey, Darren, it's midnight. If you pull the trigger right now, you'll definitely wake the neighbours up, you know what I mean? I'm too polite for that shit. But today I'm going to do it. It's about 10 a.m., and I decided to throw myself off Santa Barbara's biggest bridge. It's called Cold Springs Bridge, off on the 154. And I go outside, and thank God my car is there. Do you remember that movie, Dude, Where's My Car? I get in my car, drive 25 minutes up the 154. There's suicide rails on this thing now. It got quite bad, but not then. And I walk to the centre bridge. I'm just going to walk off. And I get to the centre of the bridge, and I pause, because I know it's going to kill me mum. And in that pause, grace came in the form of a man in Alcoholics Anonymous who told me the truth, who was sick of my shit, because sometimes I would share inappropriately, like, I'm going to kill myself, AA doesn't work. He gets me off over. He said, hey, Darren, what are you talking about? I'm like, what's up with you? He said, he said, you might well kill yourself. You won't be the first and you won't be the last, but you can't say AA doesn't work. You haven't done anything around here. I got mad because he's telling me the truth. I said, I've been coming here for a year, old man. He said, well, first of all, Darren, you should come sober. It works better. I said, all right. He said, a drunk like you need to get a sponsor, work the 12 steps, and blah, blah, blah. And he called me out because he had 2 big secrets. Just like some of you have here tonight. 2 big secrets. One was I didn't have a sponsor, and if I did, it was in name only, which is the same bullshit. And the other is I wasn't working any steps, and you lot are always talking about the steps. So I really made a decision. I sincerely took this position on the bridge and like, okay, I'm going to go back to Santa Barbara AA. I'm going to do those stupid 12 steps, and when they don't work, I'm going to go and find that man and take him off the bridge with me, probably, right? Now, I'm so bad and shaky and jittery, I can't just come into AA. I need to be, once again, go to the lockdown psychiatric unit for the 4th time, you know. That's where I end up. I'm going there regularly. Glad you're all nodding your heads who've been in there. And so I drive down, I go all the way to Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital emergency room, and I park in my usual spot. And as I pull in, I hit the car next to me. Sideswipe. I'm just driven down a goddamn mountain road, and I crash in the car park of the hospital. And the security there's a big noise, lots of damage. The police are around the corner. They come around. I'm like, oh, shit. I get out of the car, say, I'm so sorry, that was my fault. You know, it's a parked car. That was my fault. I got my ID, I got to go into the hospital. One cop walks behind me. The other one comes up to me. He's about to say something. Then he smells me and goes, whoa. Have you been drinking? I'm like, that's a weird first question. Like, no, why have you? They don't like that approach. He said, you're doing some field sobriety tests. I said, oh, God, all right, okay. I do 25 minutes of field sobriety tests. Perfect. He's so mad. He makes me do another 15 minutes. Now it's like 11 a.m. and he makes me blow into his breathalyzer, and I blow 0.32. I haven't even had a drink yet. I am waking up at a 0.32, and then I'm drinking my 2 big bottles of vodka. These 2 cops literally cannot believe it. They're jibber-jabbering with each other. I'm like, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Like, you know? Then he walks towards me, gets the handcuffs out. I'm like, I start to panic. What are you doing? Turn around, you're going to jail. I'm like, oh my God, you do not want to detox in jail. I said, listen, mate, if you take me to jail right now, I said, I will kill somebody. I said, I'm small, but I'm fucking dangerous, dude. Then I start to tell him the truth, and I open my heart, and the miracle starts to take place. Even though I don't quite know it, I start to use the language you had all taught me. I tell them everything I've just already told you. And I say, look, sir, you've got to let me into the lockdown psychiatric unit. They love me in there, man. They got a file on me and everything. And they arrest me, but they do not take me to jail. They take me to the local police station. I'll be forever grateful for that. I felt so much safer. Now I'm handcuffed in the back of the squad car. We're going down to the police station. They're so enamored with what's going on. They radio ahead to their colleagues and they say, hey, we've got this Irishman and he blew a 0.3. I said, I'm English, you moron. They take me there, they fingerprint me, and then they put me in this holding cell. I swear to God, everybody in that police station came down to chit-chat with me. No shit. 3 hours later, somebody that they know and trust comes and picks me up to take me back to the lockdown psychiatry unit. It's called 5 Bath. But so what? I've gotten drunk twice on the way home from there. Well, here's the difference, is that if you knew, I had hit bottom. But hitting bottom gets misrepresented in the rooms of AA a lot. Hitting bottom has become something very precise, and any sponsor will understand this. Hitting bottom isn't your worst outside circumstance or story. Hitting bottom isn't your worst drunk. Rarely is our worst drunk our last drunk. It's usually some pussy drunk that we all really feel bad about, you know. But I've hit bottom, which means you ask somebody for help and follow through with all the directions. Then you know you've hit bottom. And I was going to prove it. But before I do all this weird AA shit, I need to go to the lockdown unit. And it sounds a little miserable or depressing, the lockdown unit, but I love me some lockdown, man. You know why? Because a lot of narcotics are coming my way, dude. You need to be medically detoxed safely, you know what I mean? All thoughts of sobriety go out the window. And so they take me there, up the elevator, click you in the first door, you're in no man's land, and they buzz you through, and then you're in the lockdown unit. And I know the drill in this place. You got to go to the little window, get as many drugs as you can legally allow to get, you know? And I go up there, and she knows me, and I know her. I said, hello, Mary. How you doing, my love? Mary, I'm going to need my usual cocktail, please. I would like 18 Valiums, 2 pints of Seroquel, whatever the fuck those pink things are up there. I'll have some of them and all. And, have I not got enough rewards points for the penthouse suite? Jesus Christ. She gives me as many drugs as she's legally allowed to give me. I take all the drugs all at once. And I swear to God, not 10 minutes later, woo! Loaded to the gills I am. Loaded to the gills, ready to start judging people again. You know what I mean? 3 hours ago, I was such a loser, I was going to kill myself. Now I'm Lord of the Nut Ward. She takes my laces off me. She takes me belt off me, so I don't hang myself in this happy place. And I'm thinking, now I know what I need to do. Now I'm in the lockdown unit. I know what you lot did in the Now I've got to find myself a little girlfriend in the lockdown psychiatric unit. And so where does everybody hang out? They're in the day room, like the TV room. So I go wandering down the hallway. I open the door, bang it against the wall so everyone can look my way, can look for my next victim. It's the usual scene, there's a girl in the corner, banging her head against the wall. There's a guy over here drooling on himself. But then I see this girl, my girlfriend, oh my God, she's the love of my life. She's so gorgeous, you won't believe it. She got this long black hair, but it's all in front of her face. She's got these unusually long arms, and she's just walking around the couch all on her own going, "Argh!" Just like that girl out of the movie, the fucking Ring or some shit. And I go sliding in there and grab her by the hand, and we do laps together. We fall madly in love. They detox me from the alcohol with all the drugs. They detox me from the drugs. 13 days later, they popped me out sober. So what? I have hit bottom. I got out on a Wednesday afternoon, and I did not take a drink, which is an absolute miracle. I went to a very powerful men's stag that night called the Junkyard Dogs. 80 men are outside this meeting hall, smoking away and drinking coffee, having a good time. Dozens of them were properly armed with the facts about themselves and the illness. And I went straight up to the first serious dude. I said, "Mike, I just got out today. I'm going to drink tonight. You know it. I know it. What do I need to do?" And he come right up to me and said, "Holy shit, Darren, are you sober right now?" I said, "Yeah." He'd barely seen me sober that whole year. He said, "Oh my God, you've been having a rough time." He said, "Normally we'd do some reading. We might go to page 60, the ABCs." He said, "Screw it." He said, "Let's get into action." He said, "Let's do a third step prayer right now." I don't pray. I definitely don't pray on my knees. I don't believe in God, and I hate religion. I said, "What do you mean, Mike?" in front of these 80 men. And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Okay," because the no had been beaten out of me. Darren wasn't too cool for school anymore. I was about to conform to the process. Finally, we did a third step prayer in front of everybody. We went into that meeting. It was a great meeting. I went home from that meeting and I wrote 100 names on my resentment inventory. I was so angry, dude. I had to double check with him before I left. I said, "Wait a minute. You want me to write down every mofo that's ever done me wrong? Give me a pen." 100 names. I passed out. I came to at 5 a.m., shaking and baking. I wrote 100 more names. It wasn't even 6 a.m., and I was going to drink. I always drink in the morning. I called this man. He answered the phone. He gave me my next column, and he saved my life. I can never repay this man. This man was playing later on that day. I called him 12 times to finish all 3 inventories. He was playing in a qualifying round of the US Open. Every time I called him, he would stop, tell his partner, walk off to the side, give me instructions and carry on. I went to his house the next day to do my 5th step, 3.5 hours. As he's sending me home for my hour of review, he gave me a big old hug, said, "Darren, this is amazing." I said, "I'm glad you feel good, Mike. I feel like shit, dude." He said, "Oh, don't worry. Trust in the process." I went to his house the next day and we did steps 6 and 7. 6 and 7? I didn't understand steps 6 and 7. Nobody understands steps 6 and 7. It's like, don't worry about it. But I had a lot of willingness. I had a lot of humility. And I was desperate to move on, and so we did. I went to his house the next day and we did my 8th step. My 8th step was easy. I already had my list. I just had to annoyingly transfer it onto a new list. On my 5th, 6th, and 7th day of sobriety, I went out around Santa Barbara and made 21 amends. 21 amends, all the women I'd shockingly treated, all the customers I abused, the places I'd stole from. I had over 200 resentments and amends all within this area. And I was lit up like a Christmas tree. I was rocketed into a 4th dimension. My little English heart filled up so much I thought it was going to burst. And everything made sense. Everything made sense. Oh, this is why you guys are into action or sponsoring people or service. It must fill your heart. Or this is why most of you are miserable as fuck. Because you ain't doing shit around here. Like I wasn't doing shit around here. And then everything made sense, and I thought, this is it, I'm it. I felt so good. I got up the next morning, went to Foodland Liquor, spoke to the manager, said, "Sir, I've been a really bad drunk for a very long time, and I've been coming in your store and stealing vodka for well over a year." I said, I'm living my life a different way. I'll never treat you or anyone else like that ever again. I said, I've added it all up, and it comes to $2,750. It was Friday. I'd just been paid. I started work 2 days before for the first time in years. I had $25 on me. I said, sir, there's $25. I'll be back every Friday with $25 until I've paid that whole amount off and any interest you determine. I said, is there anything else I can do to make this right? And he just looked at me and he said, wow. And I looked back at him and said, wow. And I floated off to make some more financial amends. I couldn't believe how good it felt to give you your money back. I said to my sponsor, what's next? He said, oh my God, Darren, this is amazing. He said, steps 10 and 11. I'm like, 10 and 11, what's that? He said, yeah, I'll show you what to do for step 10 right here, right now. And I'll show you what to postpone the punishment of alcoholism. Then I'll show you step 11. I'll show you what to do in the morning and what to do at night. 2 minutes in the morning, some meditation. You're already praying your little English ass off. 2 minutes meditation, 2 minutes to review your day at night. I'm like, 2 minutes. He already knew I was a recovered alcoholic, even if I didn't. And he could see my wheels spinning and what I was feeling. He's like, yeah, Darren, if you do all these things and what I show you next, you can stay sober one day at a time for the rest of your life. And I'm like, I'm not fighting. I'm like, what? I am in, dude. I am in. I am so suicidally depressed for years to having a full heart in about a week. Gratitude, joy. Oh my God, I'm just glad he gave me the full strength solution, including this in the morning. I'm glad he gave me what I now call the guaranteed version of sobriety. Guaranteed. And so, but it's not like I don't enjoy meditation, just like most of you don't enjoy meditation, but I can't leave any step out. I'm the worst drunk I've ever met. You can't leave a fifth step out because you have ADHD, can you? No. I can't leave out meditation because I don't have time to do it, or I can't leave amends, don't have time to, no. So I don't know if it becomes okay to just leave out the meditation, but it's critical. Prayer meditation like air and water. This is how bad I am at meditation, and I know I've got you. I know. This is how bad I am. It's taken me 22 years to go from 2 minutes meditation to 10 minutes meditation. 22 years! But God loves him a little trier. God loves him a little bloody trier, let me tell you. My God is cool, man. My God swears as well. He's got a right potty mouth on him. So this ain't me, this is him. My God is up there laughing his bearded ass off at me in the mornings down there doing my shitty prayer meditation. Laughing his ass. He said, look at that little fuck down there. Look at that little English wanker down there doing his shitty prayer meditation. But then he sees me trying and he goes, oh, he says, you know what? You know what? He says, give that little wanker another day of sobriety. How cool is he? He doesn't care I'm a potty mouth man from Manchester. He cares about my actions and he cares about my hope in others, which I do relentlessly. Relentlessly. Steps 10 and 11, they're like the keys to the kingdom, man. Steps 10 and 11 are so simple, you won't do it. Isn't that the truth? What is wrong with us? I heard that before. What's wrong with you? Only an alcoholic will burn his life to the ground to then come running to a 12-step program just to resist the 12 steps. But this is for fun and for free. And this is the greatest show on earth, you know. Some of us are sicker than others. I'm not as sick as Ty, but I'm pretty sick. I have to work a hell of a program just to feel normal. I sponsor so many, you got to feed your own soul around here. I sponsor so many men in Santa Barbara who do so much AA. I should be the Dalai Bloody Lama or some shit. But no, I do all that just to feel like another bozo on the bus, just another worker amongst the workers. The guy told me to stop at a particular time, so I've got a 2-minute story to tell if that's okay. Oh, I've got 5 minutes. I'll take my sweet-ass time then. No, maybe we'll get out of here earlier. Why do we do this? Because we've entered the world of the Spirit. There's got to be a payoff. Why do we do this? Because I want to feel that full heart moment. And we get to feel like that. Not all the time. I still get depressed. I still suffer from anxiety. But most of the time I feel okay. And every now and then I feel joyful and wonderful. You couldn't make this shit up. You know what I mean? And so I was speaking at a conference. Look, we've entered the world of the Spirit story. I was speaking at a Akipo convention in San Jose in the Bay Area about 10 years ago. If you've never been to a YPOR event, you should go to them because they're annoying as fuck, man. And fun as can be, all rolled into one. But 3,000 of these young maniacs have taken over this Hilton complex, you know. And they're crazy, man. Many of them were hospitalized because they've overdosed on Red Bull. But don't worry, they gave them a monster drip and they were just fine. Now, I'm the closeout speaker on Sunday, so a lot of these little wankers didn't even make it to that, you know what I mean? They're up all night drinking bangs and shagging and all that weird stuff, you know what I mean? So they're not going to go to this Sunday morning meeting. But there was about as many of you who are in here, maybe more. And that made my resentment list, as you can tell. But anyway, I'm on the stage, we're all dressed in a suit. There's a girl next to me, she's going to give a talk before me. It's only a few minutes before the meeting is about to start. Everybody's paying attention, looking our way, being very respectful. And I look out the corner of my eye and I see her texting on her phone. She's texting on her phone. God, and it really annoys me that she's texting on her phone. But it's got nothing to do with me. So I get involved right away. What are you doing? Like, what's going on? Now, she's having a problem. Her sponsor's having a problem. Now, we're in the Bay Area. She's from LA. Her sponsor's in LA. 21 years previously, her sponsor got sober with a friend of hers, this male friend of hers. They go to this co-ed sober living. 35 people are at this place. And them two stay sober 30 days. Most everybody else is relapsed. New people come in. They stay sober 60 days. 2 people have died. Someone's gone to prison, jail, probation come around, new people, the usual stuff, right? 90 days, now they're the old-timers, right? Signing big books and shit. They've completed their 90 days. Her friend Matt reconnects with his wife. They move to Maui, as they'd always wanted to do. He plugs into AA, raises his family for 21 years. He has a 19-year-old boy and a 20-year-old boy who are both alcoholics. They're on mainland America at college dying of untreated alcoholism. And he's at his wit's end until he finally remembers, God, the girl I got sober with, maybe she's connected. So he texts her frantically. She texts a couple of her sponsees. One of them sat next to me. She said, well, I need a male number. I said, here's my male number. Here's my number. Good stuff. We give our talks. Everything goes great. The conference is over, and I'm with my boys. We're getting in the car to drive back home. And when you speak out of town, Ty's know this, when you speak out of town, you got to take your tough guys with you, you know what I mean? The sleeved up fucking guy. You know, the tattoo. Well, you never know what might happen. You might run into some of them any wankers, you know what I mean? So we're in the car, driving down, and I call this man, and it's on speakerphone. He answers the phone. I said, hey, my name's Darren. I'm coming home from a conference. Is there anything? And there's just silence on the other end of the phone. And it's a little awkward. And then we realize after 30 seconds, he is sobbing. He's sobbing. And it's such a moment of humility. You know, we suffer, but so do the parents and stuff. And he's sobbing. He can't gather himself. And finally, he gets it together. And I want to cry, but I can't because we're my tough guys. And I look over him like, wait a minute. Are you fucking crying? No tattoo. Then I look in the rearview mirror at the guys in the back. I'm like, are you crying? You've got tattoos on your face, for God's sake. We're all crying. Then this guy finally gets himself together and he says, Darren, I want you to know I've been in AA a long time. I've never asked anything of myself from anyone. And I've always said to God, if my 2 boys need the hand of AA, please let it be there. I said, dude, I'm in. I'm all in. I'm pretty well connected and we'll figure this out. Where are they? What college are they going? He said, they both attend Santa Barbara City College. I said, I work at Santa Barbara City College. We have entered the world of the Spirit. And I go back to Santa Barbara. I meet both those 2 young men. One becomes a proud member of the Junkyard Dogs. He's now 10 years sober, living in LA, living his best life. The other, on the streets, dying of untreated alcoholism. Because doesn't that sum it up? The yin and the yang of Alcoholics Anonymous. And so if you're new, you don't want to miss the greatest show on earth. if you knew this is for fun and for free, but it's all about the 12 steps and it's all about trying to pass it on. You need these little soap operas going on in your life. A tragedy and a wonderful thing and all this. If you're new or not new and struggling with God, I'll leave you with this. Religion might be for those people that are trying to avoid going to hell. But spirituality is for people that have been to hell. Thank you all very much.